Welcome to the Dumb Idea Podcast with Mike and Alex. Thank you for joining us, and we hope you enjoy the show. Please like, subscribe, comment, and share this video or podcast on any platform that you're listening on. Please visit us at www.dumbideapodcast.com. All right, welcome back to another episode. We're lucky 2 shows in a row we've got a guest. We're going to welcome Krishon Allen. I said that really weird, didn't I?
You did.
Krishon Allen. His website is krishonallen.com. He is a family and wellness coach, as well as a parenting expert. If you need help with family issues or parenting issues, go to krishonallen.com. You can book an appointment with him. Before we get into the topic today, I want to talk about private internet access. VPNs, you see them all over YouTube. Everyone's got an advertisement for them. I use private internet access. We have a link on our website at dumbideapodcast.com. On the right side of the webpage, go ahead and click on that. You can get a VPN for as low as $1.89 a month. But even if you pay full price for a year, you're looking at $2.50 a month. Now, for me, I do a lot of online shopping, and I want to keep my credit card safe. I had an incident where my debit card one time, someone was able to get my debit card, and the code on the back didn't even need my debit card itself. They created a new debit card, took out about $2,000 out of my bank account. Ever since then, I've been using a VPN. Luckily, we got the money back. So it really is an inexpensive way to protect yourself online. Not only can you protect your credit card information, but you can protect your identity. And it is a really useful tool in today's internet, where everyone seems to be very internet savvy. Now, back onto today's show. So, like I said, we have Krishon Allen here. I'd say about 6 months ago, we did an episode where we talked about raising our young kids. Both Mike and I's oldest is about 9. We'll be turning 10 this year. And we were talking about how would we handle social media when they get old enough to start having a phone. Now, luckily, I'm not giving my kid a phone for a few years at least. I just got her the Gizmo watch. That's about as far as we're going with that. You know, she can call me, she can call her mother, she can text me, text her mother. That's it. 2 people.
Plus the GPS tracking.
And the GPS tracking. I know where she's going all the time. In fact, I'm going to keep that on her until she's like 40. And I know I'll keep tabs on that all day. But we wanted to bring someone in, because my only frame of reference is my brother, who's got 3 boys over 18 and then 1 girl who's 10 as well. But he already went through the ringer with this, but he was very strict. Didn't let him go on social media at all. But we wanted to bring on someone who's got some experience with this, with some younger kids or kids that just started going through. And we want to see what your take was, not only on this, but other parenting issues as well. But first thing right off the bat, social media, phones, internet, that kind of stuff. Like, your youngest is the same age as our oldest, but you've got one older than that.
Yeah, I have a almost 13-year-old, and thanks for having me. Yeah, so she's not allowed social media yet, because we don't think she's mature enough to handle it, but also she's in her middle school years, which I think are probably the hardest years of a kid's life and development. Not speaking professionally, but I think middle schoolers are probably some of the worst people on our planet.
Middle school's the worst.
Oh, I hated every minute of it. Every single minute. Because it's like all of a sudden you go from being a little kid playing with G.I. Joes and Legos, and next thing you know, there's all the adult stuff that you're like, whoa, where'd this come from?
You stink. You don't know why.
Right.
Like all these crazy things. So what we really want for her is the ability to go through whatever she has to go through socially at school, but come home into a safe space and not, to social media with, if it's a bully, if it's whatever, if she's the bully, that there's a break in that activity, and that she can come home and feel safe at home, and not have to worry about like every little thing she went through that day.
Yeah, I always wonder. Like, I've got my oldest is like kind of the more mellow one, more shy. The other one's kind of like the more outgoing, aggressive one a little bit. Like, I'm always wondering, like she came home today, she was like, I pushed a boy. Like, my first reaction was like, yeah, you did. Don't take any crap off those boys. And at first, like, her mother was like, oh? And then she like went through, did you ask a teacher? Well, I pushed him first. Yeah, that's right. Like, I'm like all about it. And then like,
strike hard, strike fast, no mercy.
no mercy. No mercy. Yeah. Speaking of which, I just finished that. Was season 4?
Oh,
just got done with Cobra Kai.
Okay.
Season 4. Anyway, but I was like, well, did he push you first? Yes. All right, then we're good.
defensive.
Yeah, go talk to your mother. But you and I are fine. In fact,
All right.
we'll teach the rest of this later. But good job. I'm giving her the thumbs up. Just because I don't know. It is like but you don't want your kid to be that bully, right? Because most parents, they probably like, oh, it won't be my kid. My kid won't be the bully.
Yeah. No, I think that like even now with our oldest, I come into every situation that we face, especially in regards to school, and really from the point of, is it you? Are you the negative influence for your friends? Are you the one maybe steering your friend group the wrong way, or is there someone else that may be influencing you? I never want to assume that my kid's like the perfect kid, because I live in the house with them. So so I know.
I know all your dirt, kid.
I know all the dirt. Yeah.
Now, eventually, I mean, are you, like, as she gets older, you're going to be like, look, just stay off all social media until she's 18? Or you think that's unrealistic in this day and age? I mean, and is there some social media that's better than others for kids that age? I mean, to me, Twitter's a cesspool, right? Mm-hmm. Instagram is, I mean, like, I know what guys are. Like, Instagram is what it is, right? It's pictures. Everyone knows what the pictures are about.
They even have a word, the insta-thought.
Right, yeah.
So like there's a term. So
someone, I don't, immediately don't want her on Twitter. I don't want her on Instagram. Facebook, maybe. But Facebook's, I mean, ever since I saw that Social Dilemma documentary about it, I'm like, well, they're just there to manipulate you in your mind, to give you dopamine hits, to keep you coming back at it day after day.
Yeah.
I guess it's all social media, though. But I'm like, now you got kids, there's TikTok, and some kids even use WhatsApp for messaging, because that's somehow social media.
Don't forget Snapchat.
And Snapchat.
Yeah.
I just saw an episode, I think, of one of those news shows where, the drug deals that are taking place on Snapchat, and the codes that are used that parents can't figure out, and their kids are getting this fentanyl laced drugs and end up dying from it. So and then the parents can't find out who, because Snapchat has that 24-hour all things get erased
Signal, like, there's the messaging app Signal, which I guess Governor Hogan got caught using. So Signal, you can set up timers as well.
Okay.
It's end-to-end encrypted. Like, it's a pretty popular one. It's not as encrypted as like Wicker.
Yeah, I've heard of Wicker.
But Wicker does the same kind of thing, where like you can set it to like the message self-destruct, and whatever, like you can just set it a minute, 30 minutes. You can set it to whenever they read it, and the message just goes poof. So like, it's made for, it's supposed to be like some super secret thing, but I guess in this day and age where Apple was going to go through your phone and look through your photographs, everyone's like, well, I don't want them reading my text messages, because people got private stuff they want to say, I guess. I mean, I know I'm not all bells and unicorns and rainbows in my text messages, so I don't want Apple snooping through my stuff. But I mean, I guess with the Snapchat, why kids are doing it, because they don't want their parents to see it.
Yeah.
Because we all know, like, I know when I was a kid, I probably did some stuff that I, like, my parents wouldn't be real proud of me if they saw this right now or heard what I was saying. But that was back before text messaging even existed. So,
well, I've often said, thank God that none of this stuff existed.
Oh yeah, I'm really happy.
When I was a knucklehead, at 20, and and I think there's other ramifications that kids don't think about. I mean, look at some of these baseball players. Kevin Hart went through some. They fired him from the hosting whatever award show because the things that and the thing is what it's doing is it takes things that people say 20 years ago or 15 years ago and applies it, but holds it to today's standard.
Exactly.
So now with kids doing dumb things, you might you had pretty much employers, especially ones that are dealing with clearances and background investigations and things like that. They're asking for your social media accounts.
Yeah.
And some of them are asking for passwords. And if you want the job, well, you're not getting my password. Well, then bye. Do you want to work here or not? And they're going through it. And then, something you did at 17, you want that to affect your criminal record doesn't follow you, but your social media record will.
It's funny you bring it up. It's funny, I don't know if you guys remember, and I don't know why I even know this, but the lady that was hired as the Teen Vogue editor, I think her name was Alexia McCammond.
Yeah, that just happened.
It was a few months ago.
Yeah, a few months ago.
They literally dug up a tweet of hers from when she was in high school.
Mm-hmm.
Now she's in her late 20s at this point,
yeah.
So it's not that far removed. But you're the head editor at a major magazine, and she left. I'm putting that in air quotes.
Yeah.
She got told to leave basically because of
resignation in lieu of termination type of deal.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's don't get me wrong. I'm not condoning the tweet itself, but it's okay, how far back is it acceptable for someone to be a kid and make stupid mistakes?
I think if you look at today's standard, there is no benefit of the doubt or empathy or leeway. And, I think that people go through, we're talking about it right now. People go through a lot of personal development between, the human brain isn't fully matured until 25. Mm-hmm. Now women might be a little bit sooner, but, men are knuckleheads some are knuckleheads into their 30s, but you'll have them.
You go further than that.
Yeah. But you'll have 25. So a whole bunch of personal development and changes in opinion and perception and growth occurs in those years. That's what they're there for. But then you're going to go back and say, oh, well, you said this that was insensitive to today's standard and now you're fired. Or say there's a party where there's pictures of you pounding drinks and then you go for that high security clearance job. Oh, well, you have a drinking problem, so you can't be trusted in this profession. And when you have children who are doing dumb things and recording all of it, they don't understand those ramifications later on in their lives. So, do you want to give them, essentially almost give them the ability to sign their own death warrant when they're 14?
Yeah. And also the idea that that person recording you, that's your friend today, may not necessarily be your friend tomorrow. And because of however that friendship ends, may want to hurt you or your reputation in some way. So they'll, post it or post a lie about you, something like that.
Well, wasn't there was that girl in Georgia or something, and she got accepted to a college and she was about ready to go. And someone sent the university, it was either tweets or a picture or audio or a video or whatever it was. And they said, you're no longer enrolled here. So it was from someone she was friends with. And like you said, someone she was friends with, and something happened, something went south, and they were like, well, I'm going to get you.
Yeah.
And they were like, your college, I guess she had a cheerleading scholarship or something, gone.
Mm-hmm.
It was right, and they timed it right before the semester was going to begin, so that she didn't have time to
go somewhere else.
Yeah.
So it was definitely done with the malicious intent of screwing her over.
Yeah.
Now, again, I have no idea what she did, but I'm sure it wasn't great. But again, in high school or middle school, we all did something stupid.
Right.
We all did something we're not proud of right now. We got something in our closet that we're like, I was kind of a jerk.
Yeah. Well, I guess, Jesus forgives sins, but the internet doesn't.
No, it's always there.
The internet's forever.
It keeps a record.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But then you also have the thing of, do you restrict access? But then how do you balance the difference between, because as parents we want to protect our kids, but then you also have to. This is something we're going to have to deal with, and also you don't want to be the weird kid. If they're the kid that doesn't have any of this stuff, then that's how they communicate.
Well, I think is your kid comfortable enough to communicate with you as the parent? Number one. So if there is something going on, do they feel like it's an open enough relationship to come to you and say, "Hey, I'm being bullied," or "I did something stupid, help me fix it"? I don't think a lot of kids will do it. One, because they look at being in trouble first in most cases, and then there's that juggling between, well, when do you allow social media? And right now we have things locked down that they can't download any app on their phones without my wife being notified that they're trying, or we have to approve it. And that even goes to, I think a lot of kids play Roblox. Right?
Yeah.
We just went through this.
So I didn't know what it was, and then we have to start doing research into, you can play in rooms and you don't know who else is in this room. So it's, having to just communicate with them like, oh, you can play with your friends, but I don't want you meeting new friends on here. So it's just that level of, like, one, I guess some trust at a certain age when you think they're emotionally ready. But two, I kind of rest in a mindset, the longer we can keep them off social media, the better.
Yeah.
Because you have adults that are struggling with social media. So, like, what do we think it does to kids? Recently, Instagram was planning to come out with Instagram Kids. And then this report came out saying the danger that Instagram poses to teenage girls or young girls. And now they've kind of delayed their release of Instagram Kids based off of that finding. But you would think that a company like Instagram would do that social study and say, okay, what impact does our platform have on developing children? And it's, from say 12 to 18 years old.
It's funny you mentioned that. So Instagram is owned by Facebook.
In the Meta.
Sorry,
Meta,
whatever they are now. I changed my company name because we got such a bad rap for doing crappy things to people. Yeah, them.
Yeah.
So Facebook though has their Facebook Messenger, but they have one called Messenger Kids.
Mm-hmm.
The Instagram is basically just a rebranding of that.
Yeah.
For kids, and they were going to call it Instagram Kids because they could get the tweens on there. Luckily, Facebook Messenger is a cluster of a horrible thing. Like, the kids don't really know what's going on. Like, they don't know how to use that thing. I mean, some of them do, and they can't. But like my daughter was using it to talk to her friends, like that she kind of grew up with a little bit, and they were just like, "This sucks. Like, we're not doing this. I'll see you next week."
Yeah.
There's two avenues of thought. Either you just don't let them get on it, which is what my brother did, and his kids turned out all right. Or you let them on and kind of let them learn how to deal with it. Now, the only problem for me is they might learn how to deal with the app itself, the pressures, know how the app is manipulating them and whatnot. The problem is, though, you may know, but you still can't stop the brain activity. You can't stop the dopamine hits. Mm-hmm. Like, even as adults, you get the like on your post or feed or whatever. It's a dopamine hit. You don't know what's happening, but it's there.
Yeah, you start checking it, and
yeah,
and I gave up Facebook for Lent, and I've said this a couple times on the podcast, but at first it was kind of rough because, like, what do I do in the morning when I'm during the morning glory? Right. What do I look at
when you're in the office? You got to read the newspaper,
right?
Oh,
yeah. Like, I'm gonna have to look at an actual book,
right?
Like, what is this? But after a while, I'm glad it's gone, and I realized, like, watching people just mindlessly scroll or get sucked into these stupid arguments.
Yeah.
on Facebook. Like the worst ones are the neighborhood ones, where people just get sucked into these conversations, and then like it's just people are they're throwing darts, and it's bad. And my wife she keeps me informed on the stuff I need to know about on Facebook. But for a kid who doesn't, we regulate drugs for adults, and dopamine is really a drug, and we're just letting these young developing brains just get like addicted and via these apps. But so just like a drug dealer, someone's making money a lot of money on the other end of it.
Well, their whole like income is based off of you and your use, and your habits is how they make money. So, but like one part of it is it's social, but you're talking about neighborhood. Neighbors 2 houses away from each other will beef on Facebook, but they won't meet
No, they won't say
halfway
anything.
and kind of figure things out. And it's the same with kids. So I notice with my kids, like their ability sometimes to like have a conversation face to face is a struggle, but they could text all day. Like, so gone are the days where like a kid may have to actually have a real conversation. So I'm like, well, in school is everything like text, or they don't answer the phone if you call, but if you text right afterwards, they'll text you. It's like,
I can relate to that. I don't pick up the phone.
You don't do it?
My mother will call. I'll be like, no, I'll let that go. I'll text her. What do you want?
What do you need? Yeah. But it's like,
Great son.
Are they losing the ability to be actually social by engaging so much in kind of the false reality of social media?
It is funny, though, that you talked about how the two neighbor issue. So back when I was on the HOA board, there was an individual who posted something on the Facebook community page that was pretty critical of things we were doing. Like, we weren't doing enough for this person, even though we're volunteers. And it happened more than once. And so eventually he ended up coming to a meeting. And I ended up telling him, I was like, you of all people are going to say this? The guy who sits behind his keyboard and types all this stuff out, and all of a sudden you're okay? I was like, so it was funny because like when someone actually confronted him about it, that you could tell that was not a comfortable place for them. Mm-hmm. Like they were not happy that was happening. Like you could tell they just kind of took steps back and was just like, no, I don't want any part of this. I didn't like it was almost like he didn't realize that there was someone on the other end reading it.
Yeah.
And I can only imagine, like, and this is like a grown adult in the 40s. Imagine what that does to a teenager, though. Like, all you see is people just going at each other. You're like, okay, well, this is what you do, okay? Well, now I got to see that kid at school. Well, what happens when that kid at school is like, that's not how I get down. I'm about to punch you in the face. Yeah, and I think none of them know how to deal with that.
No, I don't think they do. I don't think they take the repercussions of what they say real. It's almost like, oh well, if it's being tweeted or posted on social media, then it doesn't really exist. And it's not until the time of like, oh, I applied for college and someone found some tweet that I said something stupid, that the reality of it hits that, oh, this is real life. Right? It's not, some metaverse that doesn't, exist for real people. But no, everything you put out there is there, and it means something.
Speaking about the metaverse, though, for people that don't know what that is, basically, if anyone watched the movie Ready Player One, have you ever seen that movie?
Yeah.
So it's basically these people, they go to work and they come home, and the entire time they're at home, they've got the virtual reality goggles on, the virtual reality suit on, and they live in this environment. They're living in the metaverse. I mean, it's crazy how much foreshadowing that movie had on real life, because Facebook was like, the reason why Facebook changed their name to Meta, well, one, PR, but two, because they're trying to create that world that everyone is going to live in the virtual world. Like,
Yeah.
I think their goal is to not have people living in the real world. They want you just in their virtual world using their virtual currency. I mean, do you remember when Facebook tried to put out that currency? What was it, the lira or something?
Oh
like
yeah, like for a month or something. It didn't
that?
last very
No,
long,
no,
right?
because I think they just got
She
made
calls
fun of.
Zuck Bucks.
But yeah, no, they're trying to steer you, instead of steer you away from the virtual world, they're trying to make it more real than ever.
Yeah, and I think if we look at it, you know, I'm a girl dad, so you know there are things that I wouldn't want my 10-year-old or my 13-year-old to wear, like. But when she's 18, then you know that's kind of your decision, right? If you don't live in my house, it's your option. But it's social media now kind of trying to shape their next, you know, customer base in theory. So the younger they can get kids, the longer that they have the grasp on them. And obviously then it's, you know, how the trends are setting and they move. And if you can get a kid at 10 or 11 in social media, you probably have them for a lifetime because they don't know, you know, life any other way.
Well, there are some of these kids that have social media footprints before they're even born. You know, and when I was on Facebook, I'd see it like, you know, friends, you know, oh, we're pregnant, and they have a picture of the baby in the sonogram image of the baby on Facebook. And then they'll create a Facebook page for the baby and then announce everything about it. And it's like, this kid had no choice in this. And all of a sudden they have, before they're born, before they can form a conscious thought, Facebook and Google and everyone has a file on them, you know, of all their data and what their parents do and where they go and their date of conception and heart rate, their fetal heart rate. It's nuts.
Yeah.
The information that they have on people, and they don't even have a choice in it. And they're just going to be immersed in it because we were fortunate. Like we grew up without it. You know, we were able to be regular kids, and you know, some of the things I think that, excuse me, that we got to do or didn't get to do because is actually a benefit to us because we got to learn, you know, how to play with other kids and the risk of getting punched in the mouth and, you know, that sort of thing. So,
well, we also came into it when the companies that were running it weren't collecting everything on you. Like when we had, you know, AOL Instant Messenger, AOL wasn't gathering every little bit of data on you. You know, MySpace, it just wasn't that deep back then.
Yeah.
Now, don't get me wrong, were they collecting some data? Like, what music do you like? So I can, you know, put this CD in front of your face, and maybe you'll go buy it at Tower Records or whatever it was. Sure, that might be it, but it wasn't to the point where it is like now, where they have everything about like where you were born, where you went to high school, where'd you go to school, where'd you go to college, what profession are you in, and oh, by the way, here are all the people we think you're gonna be friends with.
yeah.
And with all this aggregate data, they can kind of see, well, oh, you've been posting pictures of two girls. Maybe you'd be interested in this hairbrush that doesn't hurt, or it's like a detangling hairbrush. And you want to know how I know this? Because I bought one off of Facebook. It worked on me. Granted, the thing works like a dream. But, you know, like someone was smart enough to say, you know what? We got all this data on this guy. I think you might like a hairbrush. A $20 hairbrush. That's what they sold me.
Yeah.
And it's not the first time I bought something off of Facebook. There's those things like, oh, that looks interesting. I'm going to try it. Now, granted, it takes like 3 to 4 months to get to you because it all comes directly from China. But, you know, I got it.
Yeah.
It worked. Good for me.
But it's like, how long does it take? Does it take your algorithm to change? Right. So say you're 13, you're a 13-year-old girl, you love K-pop, right? And how long does it take their algorithm to change at 14 or 15 when you no longer love K-pop,
Right.
but the algorithm isn't catching up or keeping up with your interests? So is it in some ways forcing you to enjoy or still like things that you may be over, or yeah, it's I don't know. To me, it's just so weird to go in there and it was like, oh yeah, I talked to my wife, I wanted these sweatpants, and then I see, you know, 4 ads for sweatpants.
Yeah.
I don't know. I think it takes away the ability for kids to change their minds and enjoy different things. They feel stuck in what maybe their friends are posting, what ads are being pushed to them. I think you need that developmental time to kind of test the waters on, whether you want to be goth for a week. I wore skater jeans for
Did you have Jinkos?
Yes, for like 2 years of high school.
See, I was a fat kid, so the Jinko jeans were just my jeans.
Yeah, it's also like, you're right though. It's like, are they keeping kids in a certain genre of life? I guess, like you said, what if you just want to be goth for a week, but you did 35 searches on goth makeup?
Yeah, and now this is your life,
right? And unbeknownst to them, because they just keep getting in their news feed, they're getting articles about the goth life, they're getting advertisements about goth clothing and all these other things associated, like steampunk or whatever it is, like whatever genre that you were into, you just keep getting force fed this stuff that keeps you into it. When, who knows, maybe a week later you'd have been like, this isn't for me.
Mm-hmm.
And but then they keep you, and then the other thing is like they recommend Facebook groups that are about the gothic life. So now you're in there. Now all your friends are in there. It's kind of like the old. I don't know, guys, if you guys ever heard the Adam Sandler CD when his first audio. It wasn't even a CD; it was a tape. When the comedy albums were big back then, and Adam Sandler, one of the characters, was trying to get his buddy to go to this cult outing. It's like, come on, man, just come to the cult. It's fun. We're gonna go have a good time. It's great. It's a fun time. He goes, dude, I don't want to go. He goes, there's a girl I want to meet there. And so, like, if that's where your friends are going, you kind of go with it a little bit. But now imagine that the person trying to persuade you to go into a cult or whatever bad situation it is the internet or the social media that you're interacting with. That's how it can steer you in a certain direction without the person even knowing.
And you're both parents. I think I've seen my kids go through, multiple kind of interest changes over their lives. Like my oldest at one point was obsessed with Paris. So, family, everyone would buy her things kind of Paris focused. And then she wanted to be a fashion designer. So people were buying her everything. But every 2 years it would change. So we've spent all this money on this interest that she's like, okay, I don't know if I want to do that anymore. Now I like, watercolors,
right.
Something crazy, something different. But but she has that space to change her mind. We're not saying, well, you Googled, Paris, so
yeah,
now everything you see is going to be French focused.
Or there's a machine, an algorithm that's programmed to push a certain thing, and it's just sold to the highest bidder. So if someone wants to push, some new band that comes out or some new brand of clothing or whatever it is that is coming out, like, oh, well, hey, I'm going to write Meta, I guess, a check, or Google, or whoever it is, and we're just going to influence this person to do whatever. So pretty much your interest is just being sold to the highest bidder. So it's kind of disturbing to think that, like when I was a kid, it was, I had different groups of friends. So I had like my hockey buddies, and they were all into certain types of music, and then I had my football friends, and they were into different stuff. So I have this weird eclectic taste in music, from hip hop to, country to everything in between. It doesn't but
don't hide your obsession with the hair bands.
Yeah.
Don't. Oh
no.
Don't
I've got my hair hair metal playlist.
Yeah.
Yep.
I noticed you left that out.
So, but
white snake.
Yeah, man. Come on now. Little Van Halen in there too.
That's right.
But I was able to do that, but there was no machine pushing a particular interest onto me. Saying you need to.
Well, the machine was different.
It was the radio.
Yeah,
it was the radio. Yeah,
because
we're gonna play this.
The radio would only play these 10 songs.
Yeah, and it was also my dad. His taste in music, and then he started picking up on, like, I guess this is back in the early 90s, like Nirvana, Pearl Jam, stuff like that.
Your dad was into Nirvana and Pearl Jam?
Yeah.
Really?
Oh yeah,
Good for him.
yeah. I mean, he didn't like wear T-shirts and like go to concerts or anything, but like he listened to it.
My parents were in like Ronnie Millsap and Hall and Oates.
Oh yeah,
I got the contemporary rock from that time era.
Yeah, no, my dad when he was younger, he was more into like the Who, Pink Floyd, Rolling Stones, stuff like that. Where like my in-laws, they were into like God, I can't think of the guy's name that makes you fall asleep.
Kenny G.
No, well, she listens to that, but
Listen, man, I love some Hall and Oates still to this day. Some Billy Joel, some Hall and Oates. I'll still listen to that contemporary 80s stuff, 90s stuff. I'll listen to that all day.
But yeah, now my dad thought the music I listened to initially was crap, and then my sister's music was crap. But then, my oldest is just starting to get into different kinds of music, and like I don't like trap beat at all. But he's real into football, so he hears a lot of trap beat because it's the music that the Twitch people put. Because there's another platform, Twitch, where you watch people play video games.
Yeah, I just heard of that. I think yesterday.
Yeah, and I'm like, you have that game. Go play it. Oh no, I'm watching this. He's a lot better than me.
So that's I actually and look, I'm gonna relate to that because like for example, like when we grew up, Nintendo had just come out. My brother got one, and I sucked at those games. I mean, I was like 5, 6 years old. I sucked at this stuff. My brother was like 6, 7 years older than me. And so he would play the games. I would watch him. Mm-hmm. Like Twitch is literally like, I was 30 years ahead of Twitch. Wish I would have thought of it.
Yeah.
And even as we got older, because I still sucked at like Super Mario, sucked at it. So like, I remember Super Mario 3, I'd watch him play it so I could see what the end was. Mm-hmm. Like it's almost like a movie. Like you want to see the whole progression of it. And I got it bit by bit by bit while he was playing those games. I think part of the other thing for Twitch is it's not just the gameplay. The gameplay is almost secondary, I think, because you're watching something as the conversation is happening. So you can participate by typing, like YouTube has super chats or whatever. Twitch has a version of that where you can talk with the community. It's almost like you ever heard of Discord? Like the app called Discord. So Discord's like they call them servers where you can create a server and invite all your friends. It's like one big huge messaging platform. Okay. But you can have like thousands of people in it.
So like the old back in the early 90s, the old what are they the board?
Yeah. The forums. Yeah. The forums. Yeah. They still use those by the way. Like old school techies, the guys that really don't want anything they're doing. They're on I don't know if you guys remember IRC. So IRC was like it was like a precursor to the forums. Mm-hmm. But because they're self-hosted, nobody has access to them except for the people that get invited.
No, I do remember that because a guy I went to high school with, he was like a year or two older than me. He had one. He was really good with computers. He went to University of Maryland for a year and then got hired to actually do what he was studying in school, and he's like, "Screw this," he's out, and was making tons of money. But yeah, it was Ben's board, and like when you got on it, like you got in the club. Like
so Reddit's like a play or
Reddit,
evolution.
So Reddit's Reddit. It's very similar to what Discord is, kind of, except Reddit's much more searchable. Okay. Discord's think of like a text thread with like 6 or 7 people. Now add 600 or 700 more people to that. It's just one long thread, but they can add like the overarching topic is like Nintendo. Well, then you can have different channels for each Nintendo game, and people are just talking about that game in that channel. But everyone's part of the server. Okay. So it's like everyone joins the group, and then you can have subgroups within that. Whereas Reddit, it's one group, and you find your topic by. I think that like I look at that more as like a forum, because you log onto Reddit, you click on the subreddit, and then you can click on whatever, like if there's a question you want, you can search it and you can find your answers from there, or whatever topic is under that subreddit. But again, that's also another it's very much a community, so you belong to that subreddit. That's your community. If you're interactive with it, I don't interact with it that much, but I know one thing I did, and it was kind of like when the whole situation with like when Twitter was starting to ban people and like there was a whole bunch of censorship issues on like Facebook and Twitter. I use something called Rocket Chat, which is basically it's like Slack. I don't know, people use Slack or Teams, except you can self-host it. So I literally have it self-hosted on my server. Now, I don't use it for anything. I just have it there just in case I ever want to use it. And I tested it, made sure it worked with like 2 other guys that kind of do computer stuff too. But I just thought it was interesting to do. But it's a way, if you ever wanted to make your communications private, you could go that route if you wanted to. It's much easier than people think it is. But
or you can just like call people.
You could. Although they got phone records, though. You can get the phone record and people tap into those things.
Yeah.
I'm going to go put my tinfoil hat on.
At least with the phone, like, it's like, okay, I called this person about what? Unless they have a wiretap on you.
That's true. They don't have conversations.
Yeah, they don't have.
It's just like, you called this person at this time.
Yeah. So you have to corroborate that with other evidence, like if you're trying to prosecute somebody for something. But there's just so much stuff out there, and like my kids are still little, but even the baby can do stuff on, and he's not a baby, he's 4, but he's my baby, so I'll call him the baby. He'll be 6'4" and weigh 225, and I'll be like, the baby, like that baby, like, yeah, that's him. But like he does stuff on there. And
they're born almost with it in their hands.
Yeah, and the thing is, you have parents, and I'm not. It's funny, before we had kids, and we're sitting at the restaurant and we see a family, and like the parents just give the kids devices, and my wife and I'd be like, we're never doing that. Fast forward, and there we are.
That's the one thing we still won't do.
And
we won't give it to them in restaurants.
Yeah. So, and the thing is, like, and I get it, because it's like, hey, these husband and wife and their kids, they want to go out, but it's like, they want to have a conversation without, and so I certainly get it. Or just trying to, like, we're waiting for, in the car for something, whatever, like, here, just take this and look at it. And, the baby looks at YouTube Kids, but you can see how it's constructed to keep them engaged, even at that. And then you can see, and we talked about it once before with the, when you look at these videos, like they know that the people that produce these videos know that they get X amount of views, they can monetize it. And they know little kids will watch the same things over and over and over again. If something just gets hooked. So you watch like adults playing with toys, making noises. I'm like, this is weird.
It is weird. Or there's a kid that makes, millions of dollars on YouTube just playing with toys.
Yeah.
And other kids watching them.
Yeah, there's the Turbo Tour. Actually, you know what? I'm not going to plug them.
No.
They can plug me. If they plug me, I'll plug them.
But I think a lot of this, obviously it evolves, right? We watched over Christmas this movie. I think it's called 8-Bit Christmas.
Oh, a good movie.
Yeah, good movie.
Yeah.
But if you really look at the social aspect of it, when we were kids, it was, if you had a Nintendo, you were the popular kid. Even if you were a jerk, like we would all, people would want to play with you because you had the system. Or waiting for the Toys R Us catalog to come in the mail, like that's kind of propaganda. That's engaging kids and saying, okay, you want these toys. I think the issue now is that it's always there.
Yeah,
like there's always access where I think we were just able to turn off certain things.
Now, how would you go about telling your kids, because like everyone, adults have trouble with this. So like people only post the best stuff generally. Now there are some people that put all kinds of stuff on there. It's like crazy. But for the most part, like on their Instagram, Facebook, like it's pictures of them on vacation at the beach. They don't take a picture of themselves like changing a tire in the rain. Now I would have like FML, but generally people are putting like only their best, and then it sets an unrealistic standard for life, and then trying to impart that, like trying to get a kid to understand that, like, hey, what you're seeing there is not like, that's my friend, that's their life, that's real. You're not seeing all the bad stuff. Like, how do you get that through to kid? Like I couldn't, I can't figure it out now. Like,
and I think it's in their formative years. It's almost hard to do that, to have them understand that this, this famous person that they idolize, this isn't their life every day, right? So I think until they're able to grasp that people do present representatives first, especially in social media, that it's not always their true character. I think most of the people we see that are themselves on social media, we don't even want to interact with. They're like the weirdos. Like, oh, you're really honest. But yeah, I think it's hard to tell kids or to even have that conversation, because if it's a famous person they're following, they legitimately think that these people, always wear these clothes.
Yeah.
They don't understand that they have on these clothes because they're getting the check for it. Right.
Yeah.
But even like Sharon down the block, Sharon's always posting her meals, right? She's posting what she had for dinner the other night. She's showing, her and her husband were out on the boat, or they went out for a night out. People don't realize that even the person around the block is only posting the best parts of their life.
The best parts. And
even though it might seem like they're posting a lot, she probably cooked that meal one night a week. Shouldn't show you the night where she, popped dino chicken nuggets in the oven, because, you got 2 kids that got to go to practice at night, and nuggets are the quickest thing you can probably make. Yeah. But like, how do you get a kid to realize that even it's not just the Instagram models, it's not just the famous people, it's literally almost everyone on Facebook or on Instagram is only posting the good crap. Mm-hmm. They're not posting when they got fired from their job, or their boss just demoted them, or whatever's going on. Like, they're not posting the bad stuff. Again, they're not posting the dino chicken nuggets. They're posting the one time they made like chicken cordon bleu, mm-hmm. or whatever fancy meal you want to. I don't know. That's the fanciest thing I can think of because it sounds French. But so like, how do you even approach that with, like, hey, it's not just Giselle posting fancy stuff over there. You got Cheryl down over there on Foxtrot Lane that we see walking her dog, and she's picking up poop. Her life ain't that great.
Yeah, it's that reality. That life is life, and I don't know when you get that, when you really grasp that. You know what I mean? It's not all rainbows and butterflies. Right?
There are adults that have trouble with it.
And there are adults that have trouble with it.
And like, think about it. It's that issue of like, well, I saw, Tommy's got a new car. That's a nice car. I want that car. It's always like the keeping up with the Joneses. Everyone, or I think I don't want to say women do this more than men though, but I think like they post like the pictures of the kids all smiley and happy and bundled up and going out and
it took 30 minutes to get that picture.
right. In minimum 30. It probably took them an hour just to get dressed to go outside and play in the snow, right? Mm-hmm. But they keep posting those. Like, well, I should be doing that too. She posted the chicken cordon bleu, and I gave my kid dino chicken nuggets. I'm a horrible mother. Mm-hmm. Or I see this one guy, he's always got 10 pictures because he coaches all of his kids' sports teams, and I only did the one back in the spring. I must be a horrible father.
Right.
That's how this stuff can kind of like mess with adults' head. But again, what if kids see it like, well, my dad doesn't coach all my teams?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's a general confidence issue, right? And if you're taking a kid who doesn't know who they are yet, and then injecting this idea like, well, you're not this, right? It's a hit to their confidence level, because as adults we're facing the same thing. I've seen it before where you see this couple, they're genuinely happy on Facebook, and then it's like, oh, we're getting divorced. And you're like, man, what happened? They're getting divorced? They look so happy.
It's funny you mention that, because one of my wives, I guess she's my friend who we went to college together, and I knew her in college, and we went to their wedding, and she was always posting pictures of her and her husband and the kids, and then all of a sudden, like, you didn't see any pictures of her husband at all. And I talking to my wife. I said, hey, are they still together? She goes, yeah, I think so. But she hadn't talked to her for a while, so she didn't know. I said, I said, he's never in any pictures. It's always her traveling or her teaching one of the Zumba, Roomba, whatever classes that would CrossFit. I don't know what it was.
She saw a Roomba.
Yeah.
Vacuum.
Yeah, Roomba. So she was posting that, or travels a lot for work, so all the places she was going, and I was like, but he's never in it. I'm like, so either this dude is just at home with the kids, or he's not at home at all. And then later on, she talked to her, and she goes, my wife said, hey, that was a good call, because they split up. It's like all of a sudden, and it just dropped. It like one day it was nothing, and like so, and I don't have any Facebook money, but if my wife posts a picture of us together, like I'll be on there, like you'll see me, like I'm still in the picture, literally in the picture. So, but you'd think, oh, she's got a great life. Not so much. But because I'll look at my friends like, oh, you're traveling and doing this, and what am I doing? Like my life sucks. Like, I tried to buy a 69-cent prescription, and I didn't have any cash. I'm use my card, and it got declined. Like my life sucks. I didn't post that, but so you're seeing that stuff and trying to make that unfair comparison, and that's not even getting into like the body image issues and all this other stuff.
Because even body image, I think a lot of the attention on that is on girls, but boys are having the same body image issues, like with the lifting. I think everyone that posts a picture working out on Instagram is trying to be a Instagram model or some sort. But yeah, young men or teens are having the same kind of issues of not appreciating themselves or overworking out, overlifting.
Yeah. Not, like I'm not shredded. Well, that might not be, having an 8-pack might not be in your DNA, dude.
Yeah.
But, pulling 500-pound deads, that might be in your DNA. Where, hey, that dude's all show and no go. But they don't get that. Then they're just seeing, I am not that. I want to be that, and that's cool. So they try to work to it.
The person in this picture's juicing.
Right.
Or don't they're not. It's not a natural.
Right. Or is a professional, like that's their job. Like looking like that is their job. So when they're not taking a photo shoot, they have nothing else. Like their job is to train to look like that. But a lot of people don't realize that, like, especially those shredded pictures and all that stuff that people see, like, that's after like a cut. So like they'll be like essentially starve themselves,
dehydrated,
to get to that point, and then they take the photo, and then once the shoot's over, and then they're or show if they're a bodybuilder, like once all that's over with, they're right back to like eating again and stuff, and that kind of goes away. But a kid's not going to understand that,
Do you guys remember the movie 300? Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. So you remember like the whole movie? It's like all the Spartans have no shirts on.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure I was like the influence for that.
Yeah. It's all 8-pack abs. Come to find out, that's all CGI'd. It's not even real. Like the guy, I forgot the guy who who played the lead character in it. I know
Russell Crowe.
It wasn't Russell Crowe.
Yeah, Russell Crowe's Gladiator.
But
he was he was pretty.
Right.
He was yoked in that one.
Yeah, but even then, you didn't have like the 8-pack defined abs in it. But I can't remember that dude's name. But anyway, he years ago he came out and said, "Oh no, it's all CGI." It was all of it.
Well, imagine what Instagram would be if they took all filters away,
right?
And people just posted pictures as they actually look.
Yeah.
I think kids would feel much better. About themselves.
Well, for a while there was a big to-do about, I guess there were some Instagram models or something, and they were talking about the magazine shoots and whatnot, and how they were comparing the actual photo to the photo that made it in the magazine, and I guess like they were trimming away parts of their midsection to make it look like they were skinnier than they were,
and removing stretch marks,
and part of like part of their inner thigh mark, like they were literally removing it.
Wow.
To make them look smaller than they were. And they're like, no, this is what it, and then she was like, nope, this is what the picture really was, and this is what they put out there. And it was a significant difference. And she was like, this needs to be put out there.
Yeah.
Because what they just put on that magazine is not realistic at all.
Right. It's not attainable.
Complete unobtainium.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Even like that model who's like, you know, a 10, like it's not attainable for her.
Right.
You know, now for me personally, not, you know, disclaimer, women are not placed on this earth for my visual pleasure. But like the thigh gap and all that stuff, like no, I'm not down with that. Like there needs to be a little more thickness there. You know what I'm saying? But that's what becomes the standard of beauty. And then you have some girl that, you know, next thing you know, she's anorexic or bulimic because she cannot. It's just not in her genetics to attain that look. And with the filters, like Joe Rogan posted a picture on Instagram with all the filters. He looked like a girl, like an attractive girl. It was him. Mm-hmm. And it's like, you know, and he's like, this is what my kids are dealing with. Is like, you know, if they can make that ugly mug look like, you know, a teenage girl, like you can do all kinds of stuff.
And I think that's it, is that kids don't get that it's media marketing, right? That they're doing whatever they're doing whatever they need to do to sell their product. Instagram and Facebook, they're doing whatever they need to do to sell you to the platform. You know, I remember the Hot Wheels commercial and the track, and it would go in a loop. My car never went in a loop. Like, yet I thought from that commercial, like, oh, I'm gonna, like, this is gonna happen, and it never did. And it's saying, okay, that's just marketing, right? You may not ever attain this. Your Hot Wheel may never hit that loop. But you're gonna
barely stay on the track.
It could barely stay on the track, and that's what they needed to do. That's what they needed to show you, to sell their product, sell their platform. And I don't think kids really grasp that idea yet. That you know, they're, especially the tween market is, I think they're one of the highest like spending markets. But it's not them spending; it's us, the parents, that are buying it because the kids don't have the money.
If I buy this, will you shut up?
Yeah. Or you say, okay, whatever you want to use your allowance on is fine. But yeah, so they're a huge market for dollars, and they're being, you know, sought after.
Yeah.
So this is going to run a lot longer than we thought. So what we're going to do here is we're going to cut this episode. We appreciate you listening. We're going to bring Krishon back for another episode next week. So come on back to hear the second part of this interview. Thank you for listening. Please like, subscribe, comment, share. Visit us on the dumbideapodcast.com. Visit Krishon's website at KrishonAllen.com. And don't forget to grab your VPN subscription at the dumbideapodcast.com and click on that private internet access link that we have there, and we will see you next time.